that she wouldn't be perceived as playing favorites. Some of these rules we followed with discipline. Others, in retrospect, seem naive. But that discussion about boundaries was enormously important. Over the 7 years that we worked together, we encountered a few hiccups and we worked through them. But overall, there was mostly upside. Our relationship is now stronger for all the time we have spent together, a rarity in adulthood. And we have a new pillar of shared interest, our work. These relationships made work more interesting, engaging, and joyful. I also believe they made me better at my job. Endless research backs me up. In her book, The Business of Friendship, Shasta Nelson says that all the studies show that liking whom we work with is one of the most significant predictors of our engagement, retention, safety, and productivity. There isn't a single study that shows we perform better or are happier without friends at work. Being besties with our coworkers isn't always possible, or even preferable. When I accepted the job reporting to Elise, I wanted to work with someone I respected and looked up to, someone who could mentor me. I wasn't hoping we'd be friends, but I also didn't want to cringe whenever I saw her name pop up on my phone. Unfortunately, that's what I got. As the months wore on, each week came to feel like the same story, played out over and over again. I would vow to care less about how she treated me, or to shower her with kindness in an effort to smooth out her sharp edges. On a good week, I could hold on to that intention. But the minute she insinuated I wasn't working hard enough, all those good intentions flew out the window. I would behave passive-aggressively, agreeing to do something but not getting it done on time, or complain about her to my teammates. Too often, we just put up with difficult people like Elise. This is true whether we're in our first job or our 10th. We figure that since we don't get to choose our coworkers, we have no option other than to endure less than ideal or even toxic relationships. But feeling trapped in a negative dynamic makes it hard to be our best selves. We roll our eyes, we make a scathing remark we can't take back. We react in regrettable ways that violate our values, degrade the quality of our work, and make the situation worse. The resulting stress can be hard to escape. Remote work, which more of us are doing than ever before, can exacerbate tricky interactions. We feel disconnected from our colleagues, only seeing them in tiny squares on screens. Text-based communications breed misunderstanding. Even simple disagreements get blown out of proportion. It's far too easy in the heat of the moment to type out a retort that you wouldn't say if you were looking someone in the eye. And it's harder to repair a situation gone awry. We can't rely on a serendipitous hallway conversation or a laugh by the coffee machine to smooth things over. Instead, in virtual meetings, most people stay on mute or even turn off their camera, making our interactions feel transactional and less human. Can we trust our instincts? When we start a new job or take on a more challenging role, we give ourselves time to learn the ropes. We don't expect to know everything right out of the gate, especially when the new job requires skills that we don't yet have. For some reason, we don't cut ourselves the same slack when it comes to getting along with difficult people. We think we should know how to do it instinctively. After all, we've been interacting with people our whole lives, many of whom have challenged us. Think of that relative who drives you up the wall or your frenemy from high school. I don't know about you, but no one ever sat me down and said, "Here's how you push back on an aggressive know-it-all," or "Try this approach for dealing with an incessant naysayer." I never took a class on handling the political operator in my office, and no mentor shared advice on what to do if I found myself working for an incompetent boss. As my story about reporting to Elise makes plain, our natural instincts don't always help us deal with these more challenging encounters constructively. In retrospect, I can see how my mind was getting in the way. My identity as a competent, well-liked person was threatened. And in response, my brain formed a narrative that I was an innocent victim and Elise was completely unreasonable. And then I saw every interaction as evidence that this story was true. Research shows that my reaction was neither unusual nor entirely voluntary. Conflict has a number of documented physiological and emotional effects.